Hi, this is Lara at Elliott Wave Stock Market with your twice weekly Apple analysis done after market close for Monday the 8th of July. I'm recording this video now 1:45 in the morning New York time on Tuesday the 9th of July. At the daily chart level, the bigger picture for this wave count for Apple remains the same. I'm still expecting it's in a big second wave correction at supercycle degree, which began here at the all-time high. And within supercycle wave 2, cycle wave A is probably unfolding as a 5-wave impulse at primary degree. We have primary waves 1 and 2 complete, and primary wave 3 is incomplete. It'll reach 1.618, the length of primary wave 1 at 272. For this wave count, I'm expecting an increase in momentum. I'm expecting MACD to show new lows. Beyond that, what we've seen for primary wave 1. The third wave should show stronger momentum than the first. Within the third wave, so far, we have intermediate waves 1 and 2 complete, and intermediate wave 3 is still in its early stages. Within it, we have minor 1 and 2 complete, and I've adjusted my wave count from this point here. Instead of minute wave 1 being over somewhere up in here, I expect that it was just recently over, and we're going to see a long extended third wave. This wave count now sees an imminent increase in very strong downwards momentum in the next 1 or 2 weeks for Apple. So within minor wave 3 we have minute waves 1 complete, and minute wave 2 is probably incomplete. It's probably going to unfold as an exaggerated 3-wave structure. At this stage, within my intermediate wave 3, no second wave correction may move beyond the start above 465.75. I've redrawn this parallel channel to the downside for Apple. I've drawn the first trend line from the start of this whole movement to sit on this low here and the recent low, with a parallel copy down on the end of primary wave 1. That reasonably nicely contains all of this movement. It may continue to do so. If that's the case, then my hourly chart's incorrect, and if we see a new low below this point for Apple, expect downwards momentum to increase very strongly. Let's have a look at the structure on the hourly chart, where the start of minute wave 1 will be just off to the left of the chart, and its end down here is this point down here. So minute wave 1 has 1, 2, a long extended third wave, a brief fourth wave, and a little fifth wave. We have a nice clean 5-wave impulse to the downside over here. When we use Elliott's channeling technique to draw a channel around it from the end of 1 to the end of 3, with a parallel copy on the high of 2, we have some overshoots for the second wave position, which is pretty common, and the middle of the third wave overshoots the channel on the opposite side. That's also pretty common. We have a little overshoot for the fifth wave, which is sometimes seen, most usually for commodities, but in this case for a stock. This is where I expect we have a longer lasting, deeper second wave correction. Last week's analysis expected that this was a fourth wave counterpart to a second wave further up in here, but they're too far out of proportion, and on the daily chart it doesn't quite have the right look anymore. What does look more likely is we have a 5-3-5 zigzag unfolding, which is probably a second wave correction, and second waves are most commonly zigzags. From this low to this high, it looks like a really clear 5-wave impulse. And here we have a 3-3-5, probably an incomplete expanded flat correction. Within this little expanded flat correction, subminuet wave C has already passed 1.618, the length of subminuet wave A. If we don't see a new low below this point, then it's probably over already. But what looks most likely is from this high to this low, we have an incomplete 5-wave structure. At 405, microwave 5 would reach equality in length with microwave 3, and at 403, subminuet wave C would reach 2.618, the length of subminuet wave A. So we have just a small $2 target zone for a little bit more downwards movement. Within this zigzag for minute wave 2, minuet wave B may not move beyond the start of minuet A for a zigzag movement below 388.87 before we have the C wave up would invalidate this wave count. If this wave count is invalidated with downwards movement before next analysis, it may be that minute wave 2 was already over here, and downwards movement could be a very strong middle of a third wave beginning. So if this wave count's invalidated prematurely with downwards movement, look out for momentum to strongly increase downwards. At this stage, I'll expect only a small amount of downwards movement before another 5 up, quite likely to make a new high at least beyond this point, and maybe to reach up to the 0.618 Fibonacci ratio of minute wave 1 down at 431.04. When we know where minuet wave B has ended, we may use the ratio between minuet waves A and C to calculate a target. I can't do that yet. I may be able to do that at next analysis. Minute 2 may not move beyond the start of 1 above 457.10. So I'm expecting over the next few days a continuation of an upwards correction in an exaggerated three-wave structure that so far looks incomplete. When that's done, I'm expecting an increase in downwards momentum from Apple. That's all for me today with your Apple analysis, and I hope everyone had a fantastic weekend.